Let me introduce Peter Curtis, Dr. Peter Curtis. Now, some of you have already met him live when we didn't have the Zoom option. He was here a number of years ago to make a presentation about Jewish music. And tonight he's going to make a presentation about Jews and jazz and that connection. I want to thank the Legacy Fund for making this possible.
Thank you.
I'm going to introduce Dr. Curtis, and then he will introduce the other two musicians. So he's a guitarist and a composer, and he's performed or recorded with notable jazz and blues musicians, including Claudia Acuna, James Carter, Freddie Cole, Taj Mahal, Barbara Morrison, and James Moody. He's performed in jazz clubs in the US and in Canada, and has appeared on Black Entertainment Network television. In Europe, some of the venues in which he's appeared include A-Train in Berlin, Sounds in Brussels, the Jazz Garden in Budapest, Jazz Club in Florence, et cetera, et cetera. And he's also performed in Japan. His most recent album is Pete's Pandemic Playlist, a collection of songs played on solo guitar that have seemed appropriate for this pandemic. And his first album is a quartet record called Swing State. His second album is Christmas with Your Jewish Boyfriend, which is a recording of Christmas songs by Jewish songwriters. Of course, we know that a lot of the people, like Irving Berlin, wrote all these wonderful Christmas songs, trying to be really assimilated into our society. His album Steele in Love is a recording he made with 92-year-old crooner Ken Steele and bassist Baba Elefante. As a classical guitarist, Peter has given recitals in the US and Canada and was awarded the Andres Segovia Memorial Scholarship from the Banff Center for the Arts, that's up in Canada. And he wrote the music and lyrics for a musical that he wrote with Joel Yanofsky, and it's a romantic comedy set in and satirizing the academic world. I think there might be some things to satirize. There have been some, I don't know, Rusty, what do you think? Actually, there have been a couple of TV series that have been interesting. One is Hank, Lucky Hank or something like that. It's Bob Odenkirk playing a professor in a sort of mediocre college in the middle of nowhere. And he isn't very respectful of the place. And the other one is the Chair. So lots of things to satirize. It was performed at the University of Redlands and at the Riverside Community College. Dr. Curtis received his Bachelor of Music degree magna cum laude from the Berklee College of Music, a Master's of Music degree from Yale University, and a Doctor of Music in Classical Guitar Performance and Literature with minor fields in ethnomusicology and music history from Indiana University. And he's now a tenured professor of music at Riverside City College here in Riverside. So he's going to introduce the others. Thank you.
Hi, thank you guys for coming. Thanks everybody for coming. Okay, tonight on clarinet is my dear friend Leo Chiliapov. I've known Leo for almost 30 years. We met at a program called the Brandeis Bardin Institute, and they had a young artists program. And back then we were young. It was arguable whether, well, it wasn't arguable whether or not Leo was an artist, but I think it was arguable whether or not I was. Anyway, it was to study Jewish music, and it's a real wonderful blessing to have known him for so long and to be able to collaborate with him for so many years in various capacities. He's an amazing klezmer, clarinetist, has played a wide variety of world musics. He studied at the Moscow Conservatory. And on bass is Igor Kogan, and he is a wonderful jazz bassist and composer. He recently played at Catalina's Bar and Grill in LA leading his own big band that was doing his own original music. And these guys will always be close to my heart because they played music at my wedding that Rabbi Singer officiated. So it's all mishpacha. So tonight's concert or presentation / concert was advertised as Jews and Jazz, and more specifically, I think what we're going to do is We're going to do some klezmer music, which, as you probably know, is Eastern European Jewish music. We're going to do some jazz by Jewish composers or Jewish performers, and we are going to do the fusion thereof, in that we're doing some original compositions that incorporate elements of jazz and klezmer music. So the first thing we're going to do is And the Angels Sing, which was a hit for Benny Goodman, speaking of Jews and jazz, but was based on a Romanian Bulgar. And so we're going to do a medley of the Benny Goodman version and the Romanian Bulgar on which it is based. So, Leo, do you want to say anything about the next tune?
Next tune, it's going to be a tune that was as famous as Hava Nagila before the Second World War. And it was played on many weddings. And it's simply called Tanz Tanz Idyllic. We're going to do it a little bit our own style again, so not strictly klezmer. And then after that, we're going to go to the Freilach. Okay. We'll call it Freilach in G minor.
thank you. That's very nice. Thank you. So the next tune we're going to do is an original that Leo and I wrote, and we wrote it together. I guess I just said that. That was redundant. Anyway, I won't fill you in on the process of how we came to write it. I think the song is better than hopefully the song is better than the title. The title we came up with in one of our less inspired moments, and we call it Rejuvenate. One second. Okay.
That's my rejuvenation. One, two.
If anyone's got a suggestion for a better title, we're open to it. Or at least I'm open to it. So the next tune we're going to do, I don't know, I can't speak for Leo. You like the title, don't you?
I like the title.
Okay. I'm harder on us about that. So the next tune we're going to do is by George and Ira Gershwin, the Gershwin brothers, the children of Russian Jewish immigrants. Just like I am the grandchild of Russian Jewish immigrants, and these two guys are Russian Jewish immigrants. And the Gershwin brothers wrote Porgy and Bess, an opera about the plight of African Americans, or an opera about the plight of a couple of African Americans, not African Americans in general, but the protagonists are African Americans, and it takes place in their world. And speaking of Jews in jazz, I think this is sort of an archetypal Jews in jazz song. It ain't necessarily so. And there are a couple of reasons that I would say that I think that it's, that I would call it that. Firstly, it contains a musical reference to the most commonly known Jewish prayer, Baruch atah Adonai, which sounds suspiciously like the opening motive of "It ain't necessarily so." But then furthermore, the song is all a song about biblical skepticism. So it's a song that quotes the most frequently used musical motive in Jewish musical liturgy, with lyrics all about skepticism of about the veracity of the Bible. The things that you're liable to read in the Bible, it ain't necessarily so, as the lyric goes. And then, of course, there's the homonym of libel, which is, I think, probably a purposeful reference there that George Gershwin put in, or Ira put in. Ira wrote the lyrics, George wrote the music. So, without further ado, we're going to play It Ain't Necessarily So. Hang on, let me check my tuning.
This is what happens when you play Ahabaraba mode.
What now?
This is what happens when you play Ahabaraba mode all the time.
Oh, just like we did a little introduction. Okay, so I want to just nerd out a little more about that song, if you don't mind. I just want to talk about how ingenious it is that it fuses elements of African American music and Jewish music. For instance, I've already mentioned the musical allusion to Baruch Atah Adonai. However, if that weren't impressive enough, it also, the melody for the whole A section of the song consists entirely of the blues scale, which is directly from African American music. So it's an incredible fusion of the subject, the focus of the subject matter of the opera, and also the Gershwin's own musical heritage. So I just wanted to add that. Okay, what are we doing next?
So we now go into the hotbed of klezmer music, which there are several areas in Eastern Europe, like Poland, Ukraine, Western Ukraine, but there's a specific area which is now called Moldavia, of course, if you know. But it used to be called a different name. It used to be called Bessarabia. So, and I'm just going to say, the more these people drink wine, it's a wine country. It's really good wine comes from there. And I think what they say, the more they drink, the faster they play. We're going to start slow. Not too fast. One, two, three.
So now we're going to do another really super famous Jewish melody, Hine Matov, but we reharmonized it. We put new harmonies to it so that it's more jazz-like, and then we're going to improvise a bit on those harmonies. So here we go. So, my wife insisted recently that I stop listening to podcasts while walking the dogs because she feels rightly that I should be focused on making sure the dogs don't bother other people or get into trouble. So I've been walking the dogs without podcasts, but what has ended up happening is I start making up melodies while I'm walking the dogs. And this is a melody that I made up while walking the dogs, and therefore I called it Gehen mit die Hund, which means walk with the dogs in Yiddish. think my dogs were feeling particularly energetic that morning. So what's next, Leo?
You want a klezmer or jazz? What do you want? Mix of it. Klezmer, okay.
Well, I heard some jazz, I heard some klezmer.
Somebody said, why don't we do, how much time we got?
What time is it?
7.
It's 7. Okay, why don't we do,
One jazz tune and one.
yeah, and how about one jazz tune and then Oasis?
Oasis, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so speaking of Jews and jazz, Benny Goodman, the aforementioned Benny Goodman, had one of the first integrated, if not the first major integrated jazz bands. And he hired the incredible African-American guitar virtuoso Charlie Christian, who is a huge influence on all jazz guitar players. And he, Charlie Christian, and Benny Goodman together wrote this next tune that we're going to do, which is called 7 Come 11. Oh, Charlie Christian was famous for really being one of the first electric guitar soloists in jazz, so it just seems inappropriate to not play an electric guitar when playing a song co-written by Charlie Christian.
The other one is also looks electric too.
Yeah, well, that's true, but not the same type. Okay. Well, we'd like to close. First of all, thank you all very well. Let me say this. First of all, thank you all very much for coming. Thank you to Rabbi Singer for having us. Thank you to Nick for doing sound. Thanks to all of you. Once again, the incredible Leo Chiliapov on clarinet. I was just thinking about, the fact that in this summer it'll be 30 years since we met. And it's, I'm getting a little verklempt thinking about it, just knowing you and playing music with you.
Coffee talk? It's a coffee talk? No.
Anyway, it's just a wonderful thing to have a friend that you can collaborate with for that.
Talk amongst yourself.
Anyway, but I digress. And the fantastic bass player, a newer friend, but a dear friend all the same, the fantastic bass player and composer Igor Kogan on bass. So the last thing we're going to do tonight is an original tune by Leo. And Leo, do you have anything you want to say?
Well, this is a kind of what we call a fusion. You can't even call it. Well, it's got elements of klezmer, of course. But strangely enough, it's very popular in South American community or Latin American community. So it has different flavors. And it's simply called Oasis.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So thank you so much. This has been absolutely delightful. Aside from the 20 plus people here, there are 19 people on Zoom, plus 3 people on live stream. So you've got a bigger audience than you know. And a lot of appreciation is being written right now. I'll show you the chat afterwards. Yeah, it's hard to see it from here.
Thank you.
Thank them there. There's the camera.
Thank you.
So we really, really appreciate your coming and doing this.
Well, I really appreciate.
You've got to talk in a microphone,
Sure.
otherwise I can't hear you on Zoom.
Well, I really appreciate you having us, and I really appreciate having had you as the rabbi here in Riverside for the last 17 years. And I'm sorry to see you go, but I hope that Riverside's loss is your gain, and that whatever comes next is wonderful for you. So, and thank you again for having us. And thank all of you for coming.
And thank you again to the Legacy Fund. Rosalie Anderson, who's on, is the one who, created the Legacy Fund, and as a result, I've been able to bring all kinds of really great people here to lecture, to perform, whatever, over the course of the years I've been here. So thank you, Rosalie.